Alright, for him Wakraba, Ediba Dazi TV. So, your friend me Isaac Dazi, Nene, my baby mu, a war lawyer Kesibi office, a wo Kumasi or Sekrum. Na, menin baby dinko, Mijidi say, command is not something new to a lot of people. Mijidi say, and Yakoda sorry, I to say there's a court document about one thing. Actually, say the legend Charles Kojofusu, I need him say Freddy Daddy Lumba. Or torn Sabinkum so Sabri yesi in the area no. One year well, we are Sabi, why when see the chi sana ebe can with tree mo. Now, Majidi say is something a bone of contention at Ubia Eka Wasem, say in case so ye well since intense bebre and a Sabri bro we I see a tree. In Timiba Kumasina who's happened because no. Asem we dey mejidi se me ne lawyer Akomea edi ho nkomo a obetumi afa kwanya we so wachechire mu de akire yen osan so ekire ade ekire embara no so kakra pa kire se obi ani nim de e wo soro efa asem yam ne babedi usan komo ntabuchanfo ene ya na dwia na msana be de me mbonwura ne office ha na me ne ndi nkomo ma ne mfa kwanya we so no onfa embara kwan so enchechire mu nkire sable ya eye public knowledge se Charles Kojofusu adodo friend Daddy Lumba anye well no. How are they going to share the properties? Na ene menin ba bedi nkomo na ansa na beto aso ne ka hunu say dwumadi no aso ya sen Seaside Construction Limited ye konkoti o monkrato ye ba ye be san to aso
Adesan edan ye siwe die efe papa
Seaside Construction Limited for nsa
no mo so ne himfo
bra efa adansie ho nsensam de wonu madwuma ho tse opese ye se wodan ma anasa wasi wodan awie aka moso enti abrochrefuei mamo mfa musika ne mfa baabi ama ne nya basa ankrankre ene nyumakuo bia mopese ye simu dan mamo say ye school dan nsore ana company na opese wusia Seaside Construction Limited wo ho mamo abrochrefuei yesanso ye architectural and structural designs waterproofing building estimates retaining walls fence walls and electricals so person we renovation once we dan ayedada na mo person ye bowra mu ne asiesie mu eyemu nyuma nyina ye no enei abafo kwanso a ye be yama
Adesan ehin na mehu Seaside Construction Limited for
ye di anjuma wo Ghana fana nyina na mo pe ye kira kwan a ye headquarters no ewo Kumase atonso S line Unity Oil echi wonwa frey wa homa iso 0536515311 Seaside Construction Limited and rebuild.
Abusan for Makwaba biem kan hu say Seaside Construction Limited ye opese usidan anything bia fa adansi hu bia no bombodi an say obefra omo Kumase ha baby o Ghana kra baby o bia no they will make sure say ebetumi abaye wadwuma de ediama enche mene lawyer komia ebedi nkomo na wafa kwanya wesu na wachechiri mu eden abusan for sabre lawyer komia abepie mu ha lawyer mu akwaba ediba Dazi TV so
Ejosumenia
Ghana for Bebrina first interview yeah no I think you have an interview twice na Bebrina any so adwuma opachire so yemreni ampa o kira de na ampa you are very the education what you make as a pro bono what they check out
a lawyer for there you bibia na ejiska yes so if and yes calling you are called to serve
okay
and service ne bi ni say wo ma wonim de na dan de ama ni panya so fa so
okay me je de say bebre na ebinim asua de afrim sene me kan na me pia office aboko na me je de say ne e so and first of all me hu yankasa na I wasn't really sure but I think that I've seen a couple of credible media houses almost means are published which means the documents are no mean na ye hunu e true you presume say it's true say be beside the ho we a lawyer now but say be a client ni pakese bi tisa we from 1 year when say na chi asani akamam no omo kanu na ha wo sanka wo na wo ye lawyer na nka asem we about una so say kodi animu na yenya how are you going to treat this case
okay the kan enya menwanwa say obi be free mu a on sisi na chi if you say nya obia na owo sa animde no so sisi na chi so bobaye wo lansa ana Metati be brain so bi ntimi ka say oh we ya wo dia na say wo bewu. Enti ana sa hu ni ntine bi mu empese oba wo bi so fo say onya ye dia na je say ne wa no ba bewu enti sa ebi wo ha na sa hu no enti no onye na bi wo ha o yeso meye oh echina meye na bia sabi fofi anto ata na wa free mu but se bibi sa ba se de yenim no wancha emra ne chema
okay
enti mra ne de eda ho e ma obi a se wancha wasiesie kwan abefa so acha ma na nso so wo ho kwan se wo ye na wo ye na obo afi se wa wo cha wo cha no se de ope na metimi aka se ohwe de emra no se de emra ne si che no na ohwe emra we 1985 just imagine ache no the circumstances and then the conditions and the situation prevailing at that time and then enyepe and unti no and then na ke ye bia PNDC law na likely say ke be sisa no mamu and to ohwe se de sa amra no be che wo japade dia na ne wa wo ya wa che wa dia
okay me gidi say wani aboso na first question obi abisa ne say obi wu na se wanye wela ejapade che ne say
yo so bi wu no wanye wela ye de emra ye friend no interstate succession law
okay
PNDC law 111 advanced in 1985 which is about 40 years ago and as amra no by samra no and the chess anybody japade na famen kan say aya na samra na the che obi a owu after emra no eba force that is a free 1985 eba no obi a obe free mu bia wanya wo no na the samra no e che na japade
okay
but say owu after before the
1984
by and then the family no be the run as at that time no be
enti the case study is here Charles Kojo for Daddy Lumba case say jidi say there's so many controversies surrounding na ye ni ho ade na according to the judgment Utemwa for her leadership Donda Smith Arthur edituja say ofri mu no oja yermu mienu that is according to court yermu mienu enti ye chejapade na walk us through the percentage wise we ekwa hemfa we kwa ha tamben na if it is property jointly acquired property a ebi omudin wo so a when they say kwa ha say then you zoom in into when there's another spouse two spouse when there's a duration to say bia one warum muni at the same time ebi obi a penny and then a bob brabi almost about 20-30 years and some for ni ebem in the japade bi wo ho a ni na take walk us through how I be see at ayen
okay study o kan ye fe Daddy Lumba there na yenim se oja yerenom say as the court judgment in
court judgment here
oja yerenom and oja
jamma yeah
but when ya memfa ne say awofo na awofo ntiase yes but obusian so
obusian yeah
PNDC law no na che na japade PNDC law no che the dikan no ye free bibi household chattels eye efie nioma na demo nioma and ohwemra no ma demo nioma cry the private cars ka ho
okay
anti nkonya TV fridge tade ene private cars the private cars no as against commercial cars nka ho the private cars no ene demo nioma no ene efie ba ko obeja na kire die no e ba so ja efie ba ko a ekọ de otiase ye okunu ana oyira otiase a broadcast be kan surviving spouse ene emma oja wachi nti se ma no ye 20 a omo nyina ayire no ye 20 a omo nyina nti emma ene ayire no maja kire no efa so ja efie ba ko a eye won dia ene the American broadcast household chattels a demo neoma include private cars no na sɛ efie no yɛ more than one that is ɛbro baako a mmara no sɛ wɔn bɛyi ɛyɛ ayere anaa ekunu a ɛte ase ɛne mma no wɔn bɛhwɛ mu ayi baako nti yɛmfa no sɛ nipa no gya ɛdan baako wɔ ɛfa sɛ ɛdum na bi a ɔwɔ dan baako nso so wɔ baabi te sɛ ɛfa sɛ baabi a ɛwɔ akyire kakra a ɛnyɛ kurom wɔn a mane wɔn ayi a ɛbɛyi deɛ ɛwɔ ɛdum nti wowɔ wo kwan sɛ woyi deɛ ɔpɛ bi mmara ne nka sɛ kyinkyin a yɛn value anaasɛ sɛ ɔsɛ yi baako yes but sometimes ebi wɔ ha na ne yie na yɛ den ama wo deɛ a mmara ne sɛ court ɛbɛyi bi ama wo nti yi baako na deɛ aka no mmara no akyerɛ kwan yɛbɛfa so akyerɛ no na ne kyɛ no gyina ada sɛ wogya a ɛyere mma awofoɔ anaa abusua ɛwɔ akyire nti sɛ wogya a ɛyere anaa ekunu mma ɛne abusua anaa ɛne awofoɔ wɔ akyire a sɛ na mmara no kyɛ no yɛfa ne sika fam brɔfka sɛ bɛka sɛ yɛ quantify ne monetary value ne yɛakyɛ mu 16 japade ne nyinaa 16 yɛdi kan yi baako sɛ dɛ meka yɛyi fie sɛ fie ne yɛ more than one yɛyi yɛ no ɛyi household chattels no de ama ɔyere anaa okunu ɔte ase na deɛ aka no yɛakyɛ mu 16 yɛkyɛ mu 16 a sɛ bɛrima na firi mu a ne yere ɔte aseɛ sɛ ɔbaa nso na firi mu a ne kunu ɔte aseɛ no ɛbɛyɛ nya mu 3 na akɔka sɛ edu 3 edu 3 no na emu nkron ɛyɛ 9 akɔ mma a ɛte aseɛ ho ne mma ɔgya anwakyi na akɔka 9 no emu 2 ɛbɛkɔ nawofo a ɔgya anwakyi adasa ne maame na te aseɛ na ne papa na te aseɛ ɔmbɛfa mu 2 na 2 no akɔ abusua ho
abusua no betuma bia ne sister ne brother
and mostly ne ana egyina yɛ ka maybe inheritance ebi wɔ ha mo di na adeɛ anaasɛ gyadeɛ yɛhwɛ mmerɛ mu a bi mu wɔ hɔ a ɔmo amammerɛ no kyerɛ sɛ sɛ owu na ɔgya gyapadeɛ a wɔbusua ɛmfa wɔn nsa nka ɛkɔ ɔma hɔ ebi ti sɛ anwafoɔ ɔmo hyehyɛ nsa ne teɛ ɛna some part of nkranfoɔ nti yɛka sɛ 2 bɛkɔ wɔbusua hɔ a saa wɔn a belong to saa tribe no saa 2 no ɛsa akɔ ɛma no hɔ fi sɛ ɔmo hyehyɛ mu ɔmo amammerɛ mu no yɛno yɛ ɛma no deɛ nti na ɛsɛ akɔka 9 no ho ama na 11 baoba mostly akamfoɔ mu a beka mostly I just say most of them maybe anya ɔmo nyinaa mostly akamfoɔ mu a ana wɔn a wɔdi ɛnadeɛ na ɛyɛ ana yɛno deɛ ɛkɔ abusua hɔ nti deɛ ogyina abusua na nam no yɛ deɛ odi na deɛ a yɛka no customer successor no na ɔno afa 2 no na kyerɛ sɛ ɛno na aba abusua hɔ nti wohwɛ a na kyerɛ sɛ abusua kyɛfa no ɛsua nti sɛ wote ase ne sɛ wopɛ sɛ wabusua nya agyapadeɛ a wayɛ no mu bi kyɛfa a ɛso deɛ a ɛne na wayɛ waonsa manseɛ na sɛ nawofoɔ nte ase a 2 na ɔsɛ nka ɛkɔ nawofoɔ no yɛde bɛka abusua deɛ ho da abusua deɛ na yɛ 9 na kyerɛ sɛ wokyɛ mu 9 a abusua bɛnya mu baako ɛkɔta ɛno nti sei na sɛ nipa no egya abusua egya ayere anaa ekunu egya ama egya awofo a sei na ɛkyɛ no
okay now no your point of reference by Daddy Lumba case yes. We say well now no mrani patre say a dan a dose one new ja when you find say the wife ono be choose back home say be or find it very difficult to choose a bia court in the bebo now you don't hear me according to court so to one ever can say me for and say me for and now we all know say according to purported document account like the inventory no I'm sure said nine or a boro more than 1 and now no na yirum yemi no why na be can say me per down we for instance now the bone of context now is legal down is legal down the ho and na ote a oni that lady na dey eti
yeah
and so di free right now 1 year will no and nine so since be doso or Japan to be Germany ebi so Ghana ha anya East Legon kwana yedan en disable mo kone so mo cha emra ne say o yiri a wogya ho no o no betwi su baako sane ba ne nkwala ne bede e betina e say yirim so mo yetu inte bede otumi atwi su baako.
Good question. Team Rano e ka say a year no ma a year and a year no ma it doesn't matter the number. In this case o mo yetu yi ye no na ya na e ma to be a court to bem because emra say mo beyi baako nti o say mo mienu no mutimi ko ben kro mo ka say okay ye hwe yi bia East Legon fi and ekoyi we mo ne man nyina say man free oba baako
okay
a man free several women and emra no there so can't surviving children
so now no I know say the other 2 children the niece need dying their mother is there into almost so can sa edan no
exactly enti mabia uja wachi enye ma wa wo na emom ebetimi kura abasa bia wo adopt ya kura bi ebra na otiase a wa beka wo ma ho sa ma ni nyina na nye ma one oba ba ko awo ebia oti aware ase na ofa nchen ekoho ye ebia ofiri mu ansa na ebeda dia se etimi propose empire oba emra no ka se o ma oja na chede sa ma no ka ho
okay
enti o mani nyina na o yerenum na enti o yerenum in this case o ma be tu yi mienu yi na nka emra ne se nka mun na mon tena se na mon nyintum nko be nkro ka se ye be yi ebia efi a ewo Kumasi ana ewo East Legon
yeah
mo yi a ansa na de aka ne a chene se de meka but che de ebubo ba de betimi aba se na o ma ntimi anko be nkro mo ye mfa ne se judgment no answer sana se sanity that is o ma ya
appeal yes
so appeal no answer san hwe na se say ya ne be ye de a na se akoye ma mienu ti ma mienu no ana o se mo nya mo timi agitum mo agree na mo choose baako
no bi aka so East Legon
that's the problem no say mo so mo yi baako and nti se mo ntimi anka say we ni yi di a e ho na court bebam na court yi baako amamansa na de aka no match the same thing and your man on in this case you can't choosing one house a man ne a ma
okay
in this case the man no baby how more matured I advance a can adult or me adult
yes
and to almost say no and your mom no be determine mom to also has a right to say and to amone a year no me no and ebe dwen akọ benkrom aka say ye down way na de aka no yache which most likely from what we are seeing say bia maintain who has bebem say maintain who has amamu dia abamu dia na ne o say court na hwem na court yi ba akoma am ansa na de aka no yache who knows betimi kura ba say bia amon lawyers betimi aka say okay ye bebo ama yetimi atrusu don't forget choosing no doesn't necessarily mean some court na mutimi choose no maton no matter
so that's why I inventory the value at the
exactly. But the more reason why I did value to inventory so yeah, to know the estate duty of it here because also to a 12-month buying.
Okay.
I say oko now koji latest administration now a buying will move 3% of the value until no the na a bomb buying calculate 12 so to
still on the East Legon because right now the bone of contention here and it's yemfa East Legon dan emfa ma e bia Peninsula yemfa ma so what if say property no ene right now our from yemienu yemfa say we share mama ku share according to papa she in 1984 before they got married in 1991 or so till say court I confirm say onja aware she's still in them. What if say that specific property yemfa East Legon no asasina ye sit down was no maybe it was a joint acquired property between Imam Yakusha and Daddy Lumba and then ebia wakusi ejapade de esiso now he's no more now no say ebia court cried to me share say ebia o ye de ebia dana East Legon de ma Peninsula. Can the wife also claim say that specific property you're talking about, even the land, it was a joint acquired property? So how are you going to bequeath that one to the another person?
Good. So here PNDC law no there. PNDC law now I'm going into details as to what happens a brebe na onya Japan, especially when a man does and as a nipa no worry more than one. PNC law now I'm going to details. The Basia ye share emra ane fancy the constitution and any Supreme Court cases are edie. So far I've not come across a case that deals exactly with the situation that you are mentioning. I am not surprised as it has gotten that high attention.
Seriously, I think that new word chikrampono be different. Even this is also a form of beboa. In case a court to crown as a court cry to me determine a best serve as a precedent.
Of course.
Be to me be a day. So now all patches a PNDC law 1 no.
PNDC law 1 I'm going to that details. So we look at cases at court, any judgments about.
Okay.
Oh, sure. We have the friend of marital property.
Okay.
A japadia yenya no aware mu. Oh, sure. Generally, a case japadia yenya no aware mu dia. The general understanding is a japadia aware for no year from the first day amware kopem lies ya aware no frame. Egu ye. Any addition. Na ohwemu a e kamea ye se bi mu beka se our jaye ba so they see charge apade no ya different from owo ba. But I think say we share cases are court on marital property and it shouldn't be so.
Okay.
I think say it shouldn't be so. So let's speak, you know, or see a share no ma bebre yen hwe a scenario no dey man no. Wa worry first wife my japade. Mo ye japade no e na be ma na kware second one e na obeka ho. Sanka ye hwemu pa de a be ma ne free mu a ye nche no pepepe. One second wife no enche no pepepe. E was say ye acknowledge say first wife no e bo obra no bedu baabi. Na second wife no beto aso. Ye mfa ne say first wife no ene be ma no si fie. You almost see be fie be for. And na second wife buy. Now say fie no almost see be for no. En kanye bibia kra na ye hwe marital property law no kra na. Obeka say ejapade a paako eye ansa na obeware no enye mu na mo dia. Enye marital property.
Enti we PNDC so ene enka ho.
PNDC law no dey answer na kind no dey and can strictly speaking, it doesn't go into details. But look at PNDC
timing of acquiring those properties in one state.
But the PNDC law, na assembly say no, ye de bebua. Ye be hwe emra aka. Don't forget, say Supreme Court, emma judgment be emra.
Okay.
Be emra ma, and also so no court a year below the Supreme Court, no, at the year Juma. In fact, yes, some the year Juma, it's binding on them. And the Supreme Court judgment on their friend in marital property and Rebecca's awaremu ejapadia enya dia. And Rebecca say oh be man now buy you ejapade and son obe warrior. So ejapade no enya marital property per se. However, your authorities ebe say base aware no gua. Not to be prove say oh yeah contributions be wo ejapade no ho dia. O contributions na oh yeah no. Em na no betimi and our court bet me am dia mo amoye. But I know you're different from say mo worry na mo ye. I no mostly the general position is say e chemu pepepe.
You don't need to prove anything, say
not necessarily.
You contributed substantially.
Not necessarily. Except to say more married couples no mo nya nhihye bi e wo japade yim. And na otimi yesa, otimi ka say okay ya worry odo free nay say ne pese ye japade fa e bia pese me kosi dan me no krom eno de me amedia me pese me yewe me amedia mo wo sa nhihye ne de a court e be respect sa nhihye no. Otherwise the general position is say mo ye japade no aware mu, that is within the marriage ne nko ade a emu na mo de a eya na ohwemu a the tie sie ne say ene no sika no me man nsem chen ma no enti no emema no na omotai edi omobotom sika menka ne sa because e bia oba no adwuma sika o ye no enu oba ebema ne de na bu okra no oba ne housewife doesn't mean say oh yeah housewife now crew na this cabin no won't contribute towards a inana. There be because there have been authorities that even say the fact say or no aduanema or ma peace of mind ultimately acquire those properties. They don't see the contributions. Right.
So it not necessarily have to work to also make add money. In terms of for quick one, more I am motanka say Prince Lanye Jumada on yes say some part of the law the patron say the mere fact says why ye do crime ni kunonye biedi. How many peace of mind the crown pono is can be used as a part of almost substantial contribution to that. Now questions among for etabisa pani say or why Mamia Kusha say 1991. And it's a public knowledge say obi anim say sebio omushia no bia ni bi no mo start some bobra ni ya me ya omo adom ni yankopon e de bedu bi omo bedri. So during that period na ansana supposed married na about 2010. So from 1991 they got married to 2010 ansa okoware oba foforo no court in SEO so okoware in 2010. Those properties no more acquired within that period in no. Even the PNDC law one wo but say ebia ye che right now 1 year will say ye cha na say mama gidi say property bi wo ha onu gidi say at that time no mu ye ya say bia omo cha bia kwakodi nia almost your war in 2010 na obetumi a challenge that
obetumi challenge some properties now yeah and sana our second one neighbor no obetumi challenge en fa ne sen ka second one na ma en ko ne lumba nko adia ena sempo no se lumba a ware anase se fa se bi lumba eye anonko na eye na obe ware the second wife now. And casa property doesn't become necessarily a marital property. This the second wife needs to prove say or your contributions on those properties. Ebia wall boy no boama to wall or be or tall doors ebi krana or see through roofing level no boama your boss. So this will prove sir. But otherwise the fact say or and son no be worry no doesn't make it or takes away the facts of marital property. And until yes, the first wife I could just bet me I can say those properties near say a channel no different. And call say a canning album any no 3/16 of I mean the estate. No. Those ones can be separated and say those ones there. Me ye menene ye bobra esi bi adan we anyway ansana obe ware second one. The only thing is second wife no so betimi aka say that is if our proof say bia men so me some contributions on those ones. But apart from that crano subsequent properties are be a lumba ye after the second marriage no so no. First wife no so share because don't forget say
no
ware no da so omodia onya na ware.
Na court is no so yere into which means it's still a wife.
Exactly. Until once a court so yere it means up to the last breath of lumba no yere. Into properties be a lumba nya. Until generally speaking no the share also change odobro ni.
Okay, which means now I'm told say they have other properties in Germany. Which means at what point can the second wife lay claims to any of the properties in Germany? Is that possible? Because at that time they acquired that property. No crime. I don't know whether now class 1 or class 2. I can't tell.
Yes. So those properties, of course, once it is in Germany, there's and the laws that govern it, will not just be the PNDC law 111 because Germans also have their own laws, and I don't know if it is true. I'm also told that Lumba was a German.
Yeah, German citizen. Yes,
citizen.
Yeah.
And, Sewa is also a German
citizen. Yeah.
Right. So all these things will affect the sharing of it. But let's assume your earlier question. Those your properties be and son of Babe Wari, second wife. My stance is that those properties near yanko fun the other ones.
And this one.
No, you will use it, but not to the extent say, oh, can you now I can say these are the estates of the late Lumba, oh yeah, actually in that manner. Even there have been cases where you be can say so yeah work rana. You don't will the entire property because the entire property in your there. So Lumba ya work rana and fancy or car say maybe a fear on it akosia say wa esi ya nsa no be wa no Lumba na ebe cha. Otimiti e mane if you say fie no nya no nkwa ne dia. Omo mienu dia, se nipa mienu dia dia, na nipa mienu na timi e de chema ne ye. Na mom wo chefa de, wo timi de che. So for say wo chefa no person de ma asemesia, no problem. But untimi mfa ne nyina nche.
So chefa de na so now the mfa say yen use PNDC, you be use alright. But right now there's a duration between yerum mienu no. Ti mfa say properties ya mami akosha se wa fosu me bo ndi na papa bi aka ho fa che me sa na bia ya me bo ni din no ono ene Lumba akwa ni na no e bia yemfa ne se omo chem se ne emra ne kire wi a Lumba de na be ka no eno no since osanso second wife no and those properties ne bia wo Germany se odobo ni betuma ko lay claim se bia ne kunu dia anti se bia e mami akosha se bia ya che e bia dan ye 5 they say on the year be a Lumba day 2 ebia imam yakushi day 2 by be in fact back on farm kwala no ebia for just example
and krakra the inform at this stage. I mean when you are looking at say in fact back in fact 2 because and krakra when it comes to sharing of estates krana the Children's Act emra efa enkra ho no you know so no comes in here and Children's Act no say oh change apade na nkra wo mu amoye below 18 na or say di kan eyi bi to homo and sakra na ya che de aka no
and right now odobo ni ma 6 no mu na below 18 years
and once some year below 18 years no among by virtue so some year below 18 years no you also making some provisions
for them
and sana or match de aka apart from that.
Now, who will make that provision? Is it the court?
Yes, the court will make that provision.
So, what if the court provision will make, through that property, say, be an inventory, the court will choose a specific property, say, I think we should give this property to the children. But those children, in himself, they are all above the low, 20 years. Now, ABI, although a year below 18 years. But because of, say, year 6, now, omo end 18 years until we had this property at the moment. But what if that property now court and be choose say ABI because that's a provision there no. ABI mama ko say was substantial contribution to that property no. Also can she challenge that decision if the court makes that order?
Oh, wait my challenge it. Where's my challenge? Yes. It's a bit complex.
I mean, because anytime I'm me like me dwun ho a me fa say ya ma fa ne say so in a nutshell no me bisa mo say you ka say check properties na de ni na say ma me akoje say person otwe man so pa obetwia
yes because I like any other situation senka Lumba na oba ba ko na it's not say and omo yeah. Now we are looking at one the man name 2 we are looking at a man okra and I'm told say
there's
the other children exactly. You know, and some they having children below 18, which the Children's Act even says or say making provision for them. And it's when you now you are bringing like just you rightly said, you hear provisions for them. The court will be minded about the marriage, the earlier marriage. So that is why lawyers are there to put our case across. And in lawyer Obefanono should put the case across properly. Say this is the state of if like the estate ebia if you ja no emu say one akosia say wa na ye ebe ansa na mo ba be ware na de aka de after the second marriage na mo ye and now say obetimi kura chemu say oh this property kura de ebi kura na it was between Lumba mo ka say we de when kwa de because as I said utimi ka say me nkwa me yakwa me property dem na no ma ho kwan sa oba nkwa timi oba ware for ne ku timi gitum so ajapade we dia me yire nkwa dia and me kru nkwa dia and it is up to the lawyers some people to and answer up to men cancer because he can defend himself. I mean he can represent himself or by a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's up to her to put a good case to the court and explain, say, this is not a situation where properties Nina was acquired together with the other wife. Nemum say na etie ebi a we kra no ono kra ebi kra na akosia say wa kra aye ansa no be wale lumba. I'm just giving us an example.
Okay.
Or say we nyina oma ne daddy because nyina daddy a eno na be kire ne che.
Okay.
Yes.
So which means in this specific case, say ni say public knowledge say 1 year will no. They are not going to base on the PNDC law alone to share the property.
No, I mean PNDC law is a general law, but as I said, not only PNDC law, the law of marital property, the Children's Act, even the Constitution. Of course, every law derives its authority from the Constitution, but and a case law. And some are court efa our for Japan home. Nina court be applying now. And so it's for either Madam Akosia said, well, and a lawyer to put a good case before a judge, because judge there, who was some of the bano, and obesha homra, a dear boy. Of course, some judges can go to the extent, but the judge is limited by one some of the bano. Until who are old, was some can also make a case clear. And like it has been discussed here, your first situations of Lumba, Japadia, it is a bit complex because of the discussing money to even a maybe or her and and properties or year before, and even properties in Aquan organ because who are brutally in Germany. These are all factors that makes the case a bit complex. But Ghana Mrawo provision for Nina. The law has provision for all this situation that Lumba situation falls under.
Adoption for Majidi say we are learning a lot. I have a couple of questions here. I'll be sending the mommy. Mommy Mbomodian say maybe sauna or say Obisa or some Bisa will say Mbomodian or say does the entire joint property automatically go to the surviving partner and also won't fall under the properties to be determined by PNDC law? What are the implications of an existing will but without a copy in the court? The person asked me this simple, but now we all know say there was inquiries just to verify from the court say Bibisa or her there's a will, but response in the party say there's no will.
There's no will.
Nti senya in this Ghana yemra ye won na sabre lawyer or fa kwanya we sunu a chechrim how a ibesi ade a che ejapade no. Obi so bisa say
I may answer the question later part. So I say what is the position of the law when on about the court?
Yeah.
I mean this question means say there was evidence say that baby only say made that court. Because all take court the response will be based on the court record.
Okay.
So court record they say will be an there. So but it doesn't necessarily mean say no. But of course court record also na dey be judgment because the will must be deposited at the court. Not just any court but the high court.
Oh, okay.
And this a will wo now one found to court. Now you can search or court. Now nya will be there. If I say will be anyhow.
Into me no can say per the record I'm that want there's no will no. Will feel baby a court and find judgment.
Not necessarily. Will feel baby a the question will be whether will no meets or passes the test of the walls at the maybe a friend of walls at a chair a coin fast to your wall. And of course another question will be why now? Are they na fena? Yeah, who bet me about say nation in your
I feel no
I feel ya ko ena or they go to court. I know. Let's see.
Because of people say now you name said there's no will no. They know Ghana everything is possible. Obi betumi akwahye baby akwotwetwere no da akwokwote bi o ye hwehwe na afa ne yehu.
Obi betumi atro but the question it must meet the test. You can say well they are valid. Enye the facts ya tro keke. One how say true of course. I'll say the tro the person must be sound. But that you can't see it from the face. But on the face of the document also who say your friend a testator no. The mark other say the signature and I say the thumb print
Mostly the lawyers.
I mean, the word should not necessarily be prepared by a lawyer there.
Oh, okay.
But it is advisable say a lawyer there. I see people even take it to commissioner for near there. And the word in writing. on the face of it who say the oil no the mark other send his signature and the thumbprint ho oye no dance for anim witnesses okay. Witnesses were ho na ebia you don't see anything below the mark. Well, after your signature or your thumbprint no be no emfanya juma.
Okay.
So that should be your signature, your thumbprint should be the last thing on the wall. And on the face of it, no, you who say no matter where you find say wo ni dimu. Except somebody can claim say thumbprint we nye Lumba thumbprint and a nipa you born this or you nyane there. That means the only is on you to prove. And our signature way there nyane signature ni. Those are extraneous evidence which must be proven. Otherwise, so if you're not be clear on the face of it, the fans say one year regular, which is in compliance with the law. A bit me crack I say at the time I no, maybe 19 so and so no, your evidence says that time no, maybe a mental health patient. Okay. And I say that time no,
no yes sound.
No yes sound. At the having situation because that time no unti and I
don't know what you're cramping on. I don't know you're
exactly. And I say, on your literate, that is on Nima can kind any atre. And I oshe ukrata eka say one so so. Bibien who a say obi na tro e can kind mumano. Tisawo na just say wo nipa na o ye cremus or ye one kra no. Enimu because obi on Nima can kind any atre de. Emrane she say or krata a friend of was no or see a tro was say nipa machine a tro a can kind a chain and say well kasa we mu man etiase ansa na ode nsa hyase enti anu ntino obi antimi ntro enkotena ba bia ntro bibia amfa amase o they say Lumba woni wo de ba or see a fan ye de famra mu ehunu say emra no friends say edim na so pepepe on the face of it. Apart from that, anybody our interest or Lumba estate mono or home kwan say or any issues or more or raising if you feel say the mark on it and Lumba marker, you have the right to raise it. And also if you feel say the Japade bi call dia shemu kra na bia Japade no kra na nyane dia. And any dia kra na nyo no kwan dia say dey ka say wa issue you that say wa. E betimi aba say bia be feel say oh if you say no na see ye ade na onkwa na oche dia cha ochefa uni rights or cheme chefa. These are issues you can raise. And you know, that fear, well, there is that fear, but I think that fear should not be, if you like, much of a worry because, and yes, all the criteria be a call ya, near dear to say, well.
Obviously, can you ask a lawyer if someone can just fabricate a will?
Of course. As to what someone can do, a lot of things. But as to say, Yebegia tomb is another thing. You can go sit somewhere.
How many Yebegia tomb?
Court.
Court is not more for having. Some of them are having.
Well, let us have confidence in our courts. I say, oh, how do I say court? Also, did also. So we provoke case more. As I as a lawyer, I say so far, our judiciary one we have to guard and protect it well. Mm-hmm. We are not saying that everything is perfect, but we are saying that we have to guard and protect it well. Mm-hmm.
Because when people begin to lament on petty things that they believe, say, even though you are a lawyer, you are a judge, you apply the law, but sometimes you could see, say, ordinary person can even see, say, A. So the moment you try to make it B, it will take a long time before you can clear that kind of perception from the people. Obi nim say bia o nimpa eko bia kumase ye nyina nim so kumase. But the obi bit me catch say wan ko kumase no ko oboase. So how are you going to convince people to know say because ye nyina nim say nipa kono yeden oko kumase, but how are you going to convince the person say oko oboase?
Say no ntini ewo the right to appeal.
Oh, okay.
Oh, share your court system where your court get to apply a friend district court. District court, the assembly now for say, one in your idea. No, I call Cassim.
Okay.
High Court.
High Court. Court of Appeal.
Court of High Court therefore said the High Court can High Court a judge back okay. No Court of Appeal. Or the Omiamiensa. See, and also force when in your no Supreme Court. Supreme Court can review. So, and you know, but of course, I mean, litigation must end. Drew baby, but at least, let me
going through this process.
There.
There will be a one stage I would do how better. Because I want to ask you.
Exactly. And you know, I'm happy say, Madam Akosia say,
Oma file appeal. No. In fact,
say no appeal no is going to be determined by 3 justices.
Yeah.
And you know, let's see what happens.
And there's another one I echo social media said the reason why Lumba into my wellness said the wife wellness said you mama Akosia say was sign be and answer the surviving spouse at that time or true well.
No. All the wow na watch your japade.
Okay.
And this so ukoji to me for bia ho this will be assign me. Wow there. Nti na o say wo japade nko na obetimi dia hyem. Nti se Lumba wo no ye dia na japade ni so dia Akosia se wa japade hyem. Nti se japade a omomie no ye ya o so bodin se japade we meni asomesi na ye me chefa na mde hyem wo mu. Tinei aware for kramo be ye wola. My advice am dem man say wo ba be ye wola. Yeah, say japade a mo ye no aware mu a kan say wo chefa e na wo de e hye wo mu. E ba say nyina ba say mo wi ase am boy na mo si 3-bedroom house. Mo mai ba akopɛ. Na o ye wola, na be ma nko akoye wo. No a chene so me ni ho a 3-bedroom house ni na no. The 1-bedroom ma me ba. Na me 2 ni na ma mabusuafo. What becomes of Obano?
Yeah. Lawyer, you just say wa fa kwanya we su acheche nsem bebre ade amaye. Na right now no. So we share case we see a now we share the interest of Ghana for bebre na we interest asem we mu pa, especially the narrative out there say ye mama Akosia say Lumba abre aye japade bebre. And maybe by a Lumba about Ghana ha over far about fofro. Ah, on any try and na womba. Till say court a pronounce or your baby nine him say na one worry. But court a pronounce or your yere. So for I'm not here to say it is not true. Court naka. It say me and that's why you have the right to appeal. Into now no, here comes my question. Right now no say whoever apply for the early say yenko check property no. Nese property bi wo ho a ye mama Akosia can prove say it was joint acquired property. Abro ni Lumba na ye ya. Now be hu say through that joint property no mo ye no the proceed they fi mu buy no eno na at that time no suppose second wife no buy no o use be edi bie ye another property a can she lay claim in the new property now? At the time, I know sounds like worrying second wife.
I mean, it depends. Fan say, you use property generating.
Fan said the FM station, for instance. DLFM, I think, to be in around 3-4 years ago.
You know, say a FM station. The first question, Babu San say, Emremono, you can say, what is its legal status? Say na.
Separate entity, yeah. Okay.
Say you are registered and say a company. A client brand first treating it different from say registered as even partnership and as even as a sole proprietorship.
Maybe assassin FM station is no more on the toy a joint owned.
So assassin a jointly owned property. Now your be a company near the company no is assassin this one. The question will be say was there and I said e want to share Lumba and Lumba nene yen hihye bi say ye japade a ye me transfer japade na ma company yen fa ne say FM station a company say company am ran say company no so no ye nipa e wo mremu the nipa wo mremu dia o ho kwan say onya japade that is you can own properties.
Okay.
And so o ho kwan so onya japade dia na say japade na ana asase a company no office esiso no nipa bi di afa say madam Kosia say wane Lumba dia na yenhihye bi ankoso between no momienu say ye de japade we ma company no na emfa say madam Kosia say wa krampo na enye shareholder of the FM station assuming say a company Sabria I mean Lumba anyway I mean she can lay claim say sa property no enye company dia just to make the point say e ka nipa wo na japade na say otiase no owo company bi a oye shareholder wo ma yentam company ni nyina fa nkoshem say na estate because company nso ye nipa o mremu na emom ono ne shares na ewo mu no ene e kan say kan na japade ho a shares no ye beche ewo mremu.
Oh, okay.
Because a company no a separate and distinct from its owners.
Another question is a man for say it's legal dino. And only in the old social media and a man for Kawasimu. All the properties yeah, because it's legal landlady. Right now no and when you see na ebia omoto asase no at that time kwa na ebia na Lumba kwa se bi prince la kwa na bi no nhia no ye but now we develop here omotu kwotena ho ntia no se bi ye charge pade a na say before we go there this another narrative out there say obi wu edan na otim oni oyere na oni ne te no mostly no next one year wela they bequeath that house to the surviving spouse no cre
a friend of matrimonial home
yes
say ba ko pe dia on say sada dan oja ene ba ko pe na no nko ade ene ye de ma surviving spouse and children ba say bia hana no ote one ne rete ene ne
matrimonial home
na mum no other houses or baby.
So here we are talking about East Legon Dino. On your dobroni and na eteho. I know the free.
It doesn't necessarily mean say we call dobroni nkwa ho. As we speak, judgment nature say omoye two. To omoye two there. And dan no so nye no nkwa ne Lumba dan pass oja nechi.
Yeah.
And it will still go back to the choice. Also omo choose move back.
But Odobroni there, since what about Germany? Odobroni don't me lay claim the Germany one because at that time can be on Ukraine.
Well, she can. I don't know. I mean, whether she lived in Germany before.
No.
So one time Germany.
That. Yeah.
So one time Germany that not in her. But that doesn't even mean so the fact one time Germany. We have to look at when those properties were acquired, and you see, and also the nationalities of the parties involved. But just to say, the mere fact to say one time Germany dano will not preclude her from having an interest. But factors like when the properties were acquired in Germany.
So which means that they're supposed 2010 now, I'm sure worried that the Lumba no. Lumba got top property be Germany hoa. That time no yere. Which means she can also lay some.
And he said German law nature say surviving spouse entitled to a share there or a surviving spouse, you know, and I know say when it comes to issues of even estates in most jurisdictions the time of acquiring and is very important. For Ghana we take most of our inspiration from the common law countries, you know, because of this you know.
So in summary, I think we have learnt a lot today. Into more social media now, must say, Annie, we there is legal landlady, Mr. Ramo. You do insurance no bed. You can't say crumple.
When we get there, we shall cross.
You do insurance no be chat.
Yes.
Into Mr. Ramo, so what I say, would you believe 2 years here there be no? If only there are some claims be or high, my could say what can. Proof there are so many things I'm just say what me prove here. I mean, if you look at them, I don't know, Charlie. Lawyer, me just say what for I educate you more and I watch them how you basically me just say he has a learned lawyer. Mjidi said lawyer could see your learned colleague. Mjidi said he's the one handling all this. Mjidi said he will do justice to the Senator ya obi to me. Ama yemame ono so adia ono so opese on second. And Mjidi said Prince will also get something. There's no way. I mean, come on. On na wo nti mo can say onya hwe and ne de anya hwe kra ne man kra betumi japade. Even if say my next question. What if say right now no more apply for early and then charge japade, knowing very well say you contest the wife status of the second wife in court, and then you cost to eche japade ni wie.
I think it will be wrong, sir.
So now, no, which means that
ideally, well, there's no injunction. There's no injunction.
Okay.
Restraining any call from granting early. But, sir, yes, Sabri are contesting as to who is a wife, no, or court, no. So it'll be out of the two parties, no. It'll be yes or Kwakoji Ella. The other party can go to court for an injunction, especially if
recently what happened what Ababo Tinkram will be Yamamia Kusha said through her lawyer FILA for Ellie, and then he was asked in the initial Ellie what are the name of the second wife, supposed second wife, and the judge said that you know what, there's a judgment now. There's a judgment that the deceased left with two wives. So unless you add the second wife to it, I cannot go ahead to do that. You're already contesting the status of that second wife. So the moment you add the person's name to the LA, which means admittedly you are admitting that the person is still a wife.
Exactly.
So the lawyer said, my lord, if I do that, which means there's no even need for the appeal because I'm admitting under oath that she's a wife. Also, no, I cannot also grant you the early without the notice of the wife because the person left with two wives.
So the proper thing is to wait.
Yes. So now he filed supplementary affidavit, and that's what created the amount for GD say or not committing. I mean, so be a lawyer there. Sometimes the language. Okay, fine. If you want me to add that person's name, you claim that the court said this. Then I'm going to make the wording sound like the court said, but not me saying.
But that's even a bit
So
dicey.
the supplementary, he said that if we want to do the third part, he said that on 28th, also in our first word, we failed to indicate that on the 28th of November 20, the High Court in Kumasi gave a judgment that the deceased left with two wives, and the names are with the fourth. So people started reading from the fourth without reading the third, that continuation. Now saying that now Yamamia Kushes has now gone to court to affirm that Odoboni is the wife.
question will be, why the rush? You understand?
So that has been the question a lot of people are asking.
Why the rush? Because,
right.
But let me first ask, is this matter before a court? Because I don't want to.
So the following day, there was a caveat.
Okay.
The other lawyer filed a caveat.
Okay.
Which I'm probably sure.
Lawyer, right?
Yeah, Odoboni's lawyer also filed a caveat. Which I'm sure maybe they will go to court too. I'm sure when I'm told so we'll file a caveat, you also come to court and explain why you are filing the caveat.
Yes. So
but I'm sure they also go to court and do that.
You are warned and then you have to.
So now, can anybody court share the property without the appeal? Which means that
I mean, a court which is not seized with the knowledge that there's a judgment which has pronounced the two of them as surviving spouse can go ahead. But of course, it would not be. I would definitely say, there's the possibility, say, Bako Kasa Kokoji early. No, Kwan Kojia. The other party, or better, just the other party better.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the other party better because the last stage of the whole thing is when the LA is granted, you can say Mumfa notice in Kobo, maybe an any penalty. Man for Bewos in the past LA for a period of time, mostly 21 days. So that period, no. Obi be who are catch the other spouse is the past person LA. I work with him.
Oh, okay.
And I said, if Madam Akusia say, eko kind of court say or dey tum say Lumba eja eyenu mienu or commenting on because
commenting on yes.
You can wow challenge it. So
okay.
then exactly.
So what is right now no? Ebia omienu and right now omienu so jitum e koji ele no ko property na then what the sense of
exactly. And they say no the question will be why the rush?
Yes.
Why the rush?
Oh, okay.
When Senka menka say that's what I want to know. Say Nicole today are fine. And come can Senka dobro ni na ekwa koji ele. Dia.
Okay,
and okay, we on run a koji ele na dia. Now we are so make challenge status no.
Okay.
Ewo, court and I say simple dobro ni kwa koji. And oye say omoye mienu if odobro ni acknowledges in the application for LA say there are 2 surviving spouse. Let's say Madam Akosia so I feel say that is what I'm challenging. I feel that one yes surviving spouse are. What makotie.
So now no the properties and everything no, is there any order bia the court ebi am me could be to me file and so do me file send be other properties that belong to Daddy Lumba no ebi obi nko nko settle say bia e be determine.
Of course. So if that is the intention, say enye early now coordinate you want to prevent anybody from your friend intermeddling. Say obiawu na wajaja pade. Now exactly. One court to me be free court if I mau early and I say probate depend on so you and one year. Now you start using the property. That is a criminal offense.
Because your case why appeal say if your cars are with you, they are still using the cars.
That is an offense. That's a criminal offense. Except someone say car now use my surviving members Akosia, Madam Akosia say wa car.
And I say
and that is different. But where be a Lumba bushi and be a
dime be my rent will be.
That way Jemu no. If you think say businesses are now proceeds from the estate, must be kept or if you like preserved, and they ought to be court for that purposes. They are preservable pending the final determination of who is a wife and signing the GLA. That is there. I think if that is the intention, then that is, to me, that is sound.
I've learned a lot. Me just say, Imam Yakusha Sewa, any other boni, they all have a case, but courts in the bachelor.
Exactly.
Near a case and because me just say she has a competent lawyer who will fight everything for her. Until me just say, I didn't have a father as a lawyer. And the woman say, oh, but yeah, dear man, the client and then the bed, a beji. But per the explanation what you have given to me, so person 3 months of time. There's
a lot. And normal be brave
because most of the things in answer you be and the won't be. And normal be and the won't be. But I know the woman is very peaceful woman. I'm sure they will solve everything amicably. Just that I'm just hoping that all eat humble pie to make sure say peace a bit to me happy. Lawyer. Na minyakra can be in the life. Nanka sana bayanka people are watching will be asked a lot of questions, but it should be internet, Ghana internet no. But I'm sure say you be sure no be heading from your final words na for conversation in Banawi. My
final words na say the issue has taken no be in the home and so anymore don't just rush and put out any information on air. Because this is very sensitive. I mean, this is Lumba. I mean, baby, and have a quiet morning,
Yeah.
And wherever I've been to a lot of programs, I mean, and so it is what an issue we have to be guarded, and especially considering the fact that there are 2 factions.
Yeah.
There's Team Legal, and then
we bonfire say they always actually to them come in neutral point of legal perspective. Then crowd we got to see how
I'm not surprised, and it's part of the profession. There's always some question hazards. Yes. So the American say, "Yeah, if you share nimdia."
Yeah.
Here.
Lawyer, my friend was no matter what we bring. Just say I've seen. I think more almost sending me questions in. I've been able to maybe sound but so any other question? Be as me post video making sure say about just drop the comment under the comment section. I will still have an exclusive interview with him before man to be the end. There's another case I'm just say nyame ya adoma mo betenenka, very powerful. Or we'll make sure say about addressing the media shortly through me, not any other person. So please stay tuned for that exclusive interview I'm going to have with him next week. And I'm sure says if you have any other question, no super beside, just drop it under the comment section. Maybe more the answer maybe sano na utumi edatuja. Me just say yes no more bebre and more doubt, more bibia. Me just say wa clear bibia. So we will come back for another exclusive interview. And then as I said, he said top-notch lawyer that any day, anytime, if I want to seek legal advice, I can sometimes place my call, then I'll call him, and then he'll explain things to me. So I say no can or your lawyer or be fighting the amount as usual. So option for lawyer. If I can use no matter what we bring say. And I just sound October 11. I'm who can say na me no me din komo and na mo da wo dog Ghana for send be ya be fa kwan we na wo de a che den kopon de a chew na wa fa so educate Ghana for. You better ask be bring yakopon hira normal law firm na de enko so prom. I
mean sure no share etie for
so. Etie for ina. We say for the massive be bye.